It's Salt Update on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. It's indeed a sad day for Nigerian sports at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, where all our hopes of getting a medal was just dashed hours ago, with Tobi Amusan not qualifying for the women's 100 meters final. After she failed, she came third in the semi-final race and placed ninth overall. And hope of getting a medal at this year Paris Olympic Games within a split seconds dashed into the thin air. It's really a sad one for Nigerian sports, where over 12 billion naira have been spent to prosecute the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. What do we have to show for it? No medals at all. Esther, all our athletes who have performed earlier on today, all of them failing in their various events. Elizabeth Ayanacho, Esther Kolawole in wrestling, losing to Kazakhstan opponent, and also Elizabeth Ayanacho losing to the Chinese lady Ji Song in her first fight. Well, we are waiting to see if Ji Song definitely, if there is going to be hope for Elizabeth Ayanacho. But it is what it is. It's a sad one for Nigerian sports, where most especially for Tobi Amusan missing out from that final of the women's 100 meters hurdles. Bad one for Nigerian sport. All right, on that note, I'll welcome you to the program proper, as we'll be looking at these and many more on the show this evening. All right, let's begin from Tobi Amusan's stories, as Tobi Amusan fails to qualify for women's 100 meters hurdles final. Like I said, she placed third. She finished in the time of 12.55 seconds in the semi-final and ninth overall in the 100 meters women's hurdles event, and which is a sad one because all hopes was rested upon her. We all had hopes upon her to get us that medal that has eluded us for the past 13 days. Today is day 14 at the Paris Olympic Games. The likes of USA, China, Japan, France, the host country, all of them are the top of the medal table. USA is still leading the charge in the medal table as we speak, with a lot of medals still coming in for Team USA, and Nigeria, the only place we were thinking we could get a medal, just vanished into the thin air as they go. That semi-final was happened earlier on this morning, but this evening, it's not. It has not been looking good for Nigerian sportsmen and women, because most especially the fans, we have been rooting for Tobi Amusan, but it is what it is, that this time around we will not be having our own darling Ogun State-born Tobi Amusan in the women's 100 meters hurdles final that is scheduled for tomorrow. I have Abba Michael joining me on the show this evening to look at these and other stories on the show. Michael, welcome to Sports Update on Trust TV. It's really a sad day for Nigerian sports. Tobi Amusan, the almighty Tobi Amusan. I know, yes, in sports it's bound to happen, but we didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I feel so sad. I almost couldn't eat lunch today because of the news. This is a 9-year career going deep dive into the ocean. 200 million Nigerians were anticipating this particular one. We felt we shouldn't leave. We are too talented to leave an Olympics without a medal. And we felt no matter what happens on the track, Tobi Amusan will give us that respite. Even when we saw Ophili in the finals, bookmakers gave her the nod. And even when she capitulated to 6th position, somehow we felt Tobi Amusan is there waiting. Even when Usoro couldn't get past, is it 5th or 8th position, especially as a Brume, we felt Tobi Amusan is there. Even when our ladies in basketball could not scale through the quarterfinals to the semis for medal opportunity, we felt Tobi Amusan is there. And then here she is, Tobi Express, the last hope of a dying nation politically, or should I say in sports, and she dashed our hopes. I can only say we lament. Right now, I feel like writing the book of lamentations as regards Nigerian chapter. But I think we just have to, it's an opportunity for our sports commission to look inwards and ask ourselves, where did we miss it? I mean, we invest poorly in sports, while others who break world record amass fortunes. Here in Nigeria, Tobi Amusan is expected to give what we call corporate social responsibility. And so the encouragement is not even there in the first place. I mean, it's so bad, but it is what it is. She's human after all. I'm sure some of us, many people have immortalized her, but she has shown us that she can be human too. But we should just encourage her, let her bounce back. The Olympics is not the end of sports, but then it's a big lesson for us. Even the 4x4 disqualification, I mean, so many sad developments coming from Paris, but let's just take it in good faith.
Well, Michael, taking this in good faith, stick on the tracks, because we are going to be looking at this side by side. 4x4 male team was disqualified because of a lane violation. And despite with a very good time of the finish with 2.59 with 81 seconds in that race, finishing second in heat 2, and they post a season best of the time I just mentioned. And also alongside, because it was happening simultaneously as Tobi Amusan, as we were crying over Tobi Amusan's not making it to the final, the same thing happened in the men's after we were jubilating that they've made it to the final. But just going back to check, somebody said VAR has come again, video assistant referee, which we see in football. They had to go over and look at the clip and look at look at the race over again. And before you know it, the next thing we saw a team, because on the screen it was put qualified. Before you know, that queue was taken away from Nigerians' position, and the next thing is DQ, disqualified, which was actually a very sad moment. How can we explain all of this that happened in Paris?
Yes, I mean, when you look at the 4x4, it's a bit technical, much more than the 4x100 meters. The 4x400 meters, they pay a lot of attention. Sometimes because of the fast twitch of the 4x1, the electronics may not even detect the infringement stepping on the line. But when it comes to the 4x4, I mean, it was too glaring. Our athlete stepped on the line over and over. I think he stepped about 5 times. Perhaps if it were just once, maybe the camera may not have noticed. But for it to happen again and again and again, I mean, we ran a very good time, 2 minutes, 59 seconds. Let me shock you, Fashemi. In year 2000, Sydney Olympics, we won the silver that became gold with a time of 2 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah.
Here we are in ecstasy that we have qualified. And I tell you what, in our last show, I told you that we have 2 guys who can give us 44 split and 2 guys who could give us a 45 split. And we're rejoicing that we have qualified for the finals, an opportunity to get a medal. But look at where we are. This is just track and field misfortune, an opportunity that would have perhaps made up for Tobi Amusan's misfortune in the 100-meter hurdles. And then suddenly the electronics were able to detect that infringement. I feel so sad. I mean, sometimes it feels as if, how comes, permit me to say, our village people followed us all the way to Paris Olympics? If not, that's a costly mistake that shouldn't happen. And I'm sure it was not deliberate, but sometimes the spur of the moment, the spontaneous activity must have led the athletes to step on the line. But it is what it is. Let's take it as a pat on the back and go back to the drawing board.
For how long are we will be going back to the drawing board? Okay, still talking the Olympics and still talking of disappointment in all of today's outing. Let's take a look at another one. For Elizabeth Ayanacho, yes, against the Chinese Song Ji in Taekwondo. That's her first fight. She also lost. She started the fight very well. 2-1 before, you know, in the second round of that fight, the Chinese came back strong, and I was able to just get the win against Elizabeth Ayanacho, compounding our woes, compounding our misfortunes. Elizabeth Ayanacho qualified back-to-back, becoming the first Nigerian to do so for Taekwondo event in an Olympic game.
Yes, I mean, it's so sad. She's our only athlete, and we expected more. For the first round, she gave a very good account of herself. But of course, when it came clutch time, I mean, she went missing. How would you explain a 2-2 first round and then 8-3 second round? It just shows that somehow she wasn't able to maintain concentration. She lost concentration along the way, and perhaps that's the reason why she is where she is. Taekwondo is one of my favorite sports. I did Taekwondo 1998 to 2002, and I tell you what, it's a very beautiful sport. Unfortunately, we have only a sole representative, Elizabeth Ayanacho, but she should be encouraged. I mean, this is not the end of the world, like I said initially. We need to organize a retreat for our athletes. Somehow, it seems like we've not been having a good psychological edge, and that is affecting them negatively. It's affecting their performances, and this is alarming. It calls for an emergency. I mean, the Sports Commission needs to call for an emergency meeting to, I mean, in hindsight and in retrospect, gloss over our performances, because for the repetition of this crisis we're experiencing in Paris, it shows that we have missed it somewhere. And recently, the government were saying they want to withdraw from sports sponsorship and all that. That will only take us down into the deep blue sea. I pray that the president reconsiders that decision and reviews it. But for now, the woes continue to mount. May God help us. I heard one of our planes is already landed Murtala Airport yesterday, containing the badminton team and the others. But all I would say is, Nigeria, this is a lesson that we need to go back and start all over.
Okay, we need to go back and start all over. Michael, still talking the Olympic Games. Definitely, we've missed it right now. Where do you think we really missed it the most? Which area was, where would have concentrated more? 88 athletes went to represent us right there in Paris Olympic Games. And out of 88, 12 sports, we don't have anything to show. Countries like Zambia, Botswana, we saw what Leslie Tepogo did yesterday night, becoming the first African to win a gold medal in 200 men's event. And because of that achievement, the country declared a public holiday in its honor. And now here we are, 200 million plus nation, 88 athletes, 12 sports. We don't have anything to show. We saw all that be going on. So where do you think we should have concentrated on? Maybe we could have at least gotten it right in that sector.
Yes. Let me give you an instance. The United States of America invests as much as $50 billion in their sports annually. Okay? The athletes are well taken care of. In Nigeria, our athletes, most of them train abroad. And even abroad, they have to pay their coaches to take care of them. I'm talking specifically about track and field now.
Yeah.
But there, outside, to ensure that, you know, it's a capitalist economy, And so they bring in investors that invest in their sports, take care of the welfare of the athletes. The athlete doesn't have to worry where food or monies will come from. But here, our athletes, even the ones based in US, will have to be waiting. I need to pay my coach to train me for Olympics. I need to pay my coach to train me for World Championships. That is where we missed it. I mean, if, for instance, we're inviting, let's even look at football, you're inviting players to come to camp. For other countries, the players are coming to be enriched. But for Nigeria, because you are playing in England or Germany, you are expected to come and make donations. So, like I said the other day, Kain Sola will be squatting on your marks and $5,000 to be waiting at the finish line. Noah Lyles will be squatting and $50,000 is waiting. For goodness sake, who do you expect to perform better? I think that's just the situation. France invests 40 billion in sports. Even our neighbors, Ghana here, invest over $1 billion in sports. But where are we? We are even trying to withdraw the sponsorship. It means in the next Olympics, we may not even have a contingent. 12 sports, nothing should show for it. I think that system needs to be overhauled.
The entire system needs to be overhauled because we actually want to get it right. It's 8 athletes with nothing to show as we speak. These are the happenings at the Paris Olympic Games 2024, where all hopes was dashed when Tobi Amusan missed that, lost out in the semi-final for the women's 100 hurdles, women's 100 meters hurdles final event. And also, after we're jubilating that our male team, 4x4 male team, have qualified for the final of that event. At the end of the day, we went back to check the camera. Somebody said VAR. At the end of checking and everything, we were disqualified because of violation of lane infraction. And multiple times, if it was one, like you heard, Michael, if it was once, maybe the camera wouldn't have detected that, but it was more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 5 times, and which really didn't speak well for us. And also Elizabeth Ayanacho lost into the Chinese Jin Song in Taekwondo, and we saw what happened to us on Wednesday. The basketball, D Tigress, though they did well, we cannot blame the D Tigress. They actually did well in the tournament, getting to the quarterfinal, becoming the first African country to do so well. So having hope. The Super Falcons crashed out. All our table tennis team crashed out. They were the first to crash out of the event, badminton, and what have you. Wow, this is where we are, and how far can we go? What can we do to stop all of this from reoccurring? We said 2016 Olympics was the worst. 2020 Olympics, Tokyo 2020, a little bit better because we had 2 medals. But I think the same thing we experienced at Rio 2016, we might just be experiencing it in 2024, which it doesn't really speak well for a nation that has 200 million people. All right, let's move ahead and look at this story. Let's go straight to basketball, but we're still talking about Olympic Games. But this time around, Coach Rena Wakama has advised that they should invest in D Tigress and also invest in sports in general, and definitely our future is bright coming from the 32-year-old D Tigress coach. Mike, this woman did so well, this lady did so well, becoming the first woman to win the Afro Basket title. In fact, she broke all records. At first, when she came on board, a lot of critics for her that yes, she would not be able to do the job. But I think she has surpassed everyone's expectation, and she has written her name with a golden pen.
Yes, I mean, just like what did during the World Cup last year after facing heavy criticism, Rena Wakama has also done the same. I must say this, it is not all doom and gloom. I mean, let's look at the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's not cry foul. I mean, this is the World Games, the whole world coming together. So we actually gave a good account of ourselves. If you look at it in detail, you will see that we just narrowly missed out on certain medals. Yes. We got quite close, So it's not as if we were woeful top to bottom, but somehow we just couldn't grab our hands. We saw the medal quite all right, but we just couldn't lay our hands. I think that's our situation. Like I said, I believe if we faced any other team other than the US in that quarterfinals, we would have been in the semifinals, because we have moved from position 12th to position 8th. It shows that apart from the United States of America, we had what it takes, or what it took, to take down every other basketball team. I mean, we need to celebrate Rena Wakama. Let's not look at the quarterfinals. Let's look at what she has been able to do to the top teams in the world. She deserves, I mean, to be honored in the country. She deserves a presidential welcome for being able to pull that feat. Yeah. And if we are not careful, we may lose some of our athletes to other countries. If you saw the 4x400 meters, we saw some of our Nigerian girls running for other countries. Yeah. Shot put silver, a Nigerian girl, because of a crisis in Tokyo, she got it for US. So we shouldn't allow our athletes jackpot in sports. Let's try and put modalities in place so that we can secure them for the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. That's my advice for now. But I mean, we tried. We got to finals in 200. I mean, we got 5th in shot put, 5th in long jump. Let's not feel so bad. We even tried in badminton. At least we faced China and we're not embarrassed. I mean, amateur quarterfinals. These are the positives. Let's not feel that we just went there and got disgraced. The only disgrace to me is that motorcycle or bicycle that we went to borrow.
Well, talking about the motorcycle, well, that's a topic for another. But it is what it is, because she had to just get that bike at that point in time. She actually explained she wasn't scheduled for that particular event at that moment, and she just had to improvise. And the German riders offered to give her the bike to use for that event. Well, like you said, Rena Wakama is advising, invest in sports. I believe if our sports administrators will listen to her, because these are the actors, these are the on-field actors, those who are there, they are close to these athletes, they are close to these players, so they know what it is. That is why she's advising that we should invest in sports. All right, moving ahead. Talking Olympics, let's look at the final that will be coming up as we speak this evening, the Olympics men's football final. It is a big one. It is all European affair. We saw what all the African affair did in the bronze medal match. Morocco whitewashing Egypt 6-0 to win the bronze men's football bronze title. And now the final is between Spain and the host country, France. Michael, the big one in men's football.
Yes, I mean, it just brings back great memories. Atlanta 96. I mean, we had, I think, the semifinals 2 a.m. We woke up to watch the semifinals 2 a.m. And then, of course, the finals around 4 p.m. the next 2 days later. And the whole Nigeria stopped every other activity, shut down every other activity just to witness Nigeria defeat, I mean, Argentina 1-0, 1-1, and then, of course, 2-1, and then 2-2, and then Amunike came with a diving header. I can remember my uncle saying he dived and Amunike flew like a fish. It was that day I said, fishes do fly too. I mean, that was on a lighter note. But Spain are the powerhouse of football, no doubt. France is right up there with them. But it's all going to boil down to perhaps the support, the massive support. I trust the French fans. When you look at the stadium, whenever a French athlete is being introduced, there is always this massive ovation that goes along with it. So imagine the 90,000 fans that will be there in the stadium just to cheer France up. I mean, the Spanish team will have their backs against the wall, but this is one medal that every country craves for, the Football Olympic men's final. That's unforgettable. Even if you forget the Olympics, you can't forget that after athletics. And so it's going to be a very dicey finals, but let's see how it goes. Perhaps the French team may just nip this one in the bud. But you know, when it comes to Spain, they have the best football infrastructure, the best football structure. I mean, from the cadet level to the top tier. But let's all stay glued to our TV sets and see what comes out of it. But I'm tipping France for this title.
Okay, you are tipping France to win the men's Olympic footballer event. That game is at the Parc des Princes in Paris. Who wins the title? Spain, France final. All right, let's quickly look at some transfer stories on the show this evening before we go. Let's talk about Super Eagles player Al Hassan Yusuf is set to join MLS club New England Revolution, that is a Major League Soccer in America. He plays for Royal Antwerp in Belgium. So Al Hassan Yusuf, we saw him with the Super Eagles during the 2023 Nations Cup in Cote d'Ivoire. He's set to move to US from Europe. Quickly, Michael, in 2 seconds, what's your take about Al Hassan Yusuf's move?
Yes, I mean, when players move to MLS in the twilight of their careers, I don't know why he's moving this early. I don't think he's that old that he wants to go and retire and make money. But sometimes when these monies come calling, you can't say no to it. I mean, I wish it was Saudi he went to, but a big kudos to, I mean, Al Hassan Yusuf. We can't forget his fantastic performance before that injury took him out. He was truly one of the maestros of our midfield.
Okay. All right, let's take the last two on the show. Real Madrid monitoring Chelsea defender Jos. This is a Ghanaian, Akem Pong. He's a Ghanaian young, fantastic defender. And now Real Madrid and PSG are actually monitoring this young guy. And the last one, Marseille shows interest in Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah, who's also interested of going to play in the French Ligue 1. All right, that is where we'll be leaving it on the show this evening. We just, like I said, it's a sad day in sports for Nigeria, where all hopes was lost during Tobi Amusan's race at the Paris Olympic Games. All right, that is it on the program. Michael, thanks for joining me on the show this evening. We wish Team Nigeria well in subsequent outing.
Yes.
All right, that is it on the program.
Let's take it in good faith.
I am Emmanuel Fashion. Say thanks for watching.